Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to this week Market Outlook. Um, I just got a new laptop, so I just want to make sure everything the setting is okay. So if you guys can double check with me, the sound, the quality of the stream, the drawing, everything. Can you guys just double check with me that you can hear me well? You can see my drawing, you can see my chart, and it's not too laggy. Can I just confirm that with everyone? That would be awesome. Thank you very much. Everything perfect on TradingView. That's good to hear. What about YouTube? Can anyone on YouTube confirm that for me? So everything's good? Okay, good, good, good. Good to hear. I just got a new laptop, so I'm just changing the stream setting and all that stuff. So that's all okay. Good to know. So we're gonna get started. As usual, I'll go over any live position I have, and then I will go over my watch list. This usually take about 10-15 minutes or so, and then I will go over any pairs for you guys. Okay, so first part of the stream, just for me talking for about good 10-15 minutes or so, and then we'll get on to the pairs that we are looking at for the week ahead. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Kiwi Swiss. Kiwi Swiss here, I think we've been talking about this for a few weeks now, right? We've been talking about this potential up move that could be a possible long here. Once this consolidation completes, we're looking for a push up to at least this high, if not the previous higher time frame high. We have seen this move out play out many, many times over. In terms of entry, I think that's pretty standard. This is a reversal entry, the one that I talk about in my videos. We have this larger kind of a continuation correction. We also form a descending structure, and we have this kind of a oddly inverse head and shoulder. But I like what about is a down move pushing down, no continuation. It's a bullish up move, bullish correction, and then basically just set the entry order here. Stop loss below the correction, and then take me in. I think this is during the Asian session, and price just kind of impulsively pushing up now. So I'm going to watch what's going to happen here, whether or not we're going to break out and then continue upwards, or this might be a potential reversal. But either or, I'm going to move up the alert and then just kind of monitor this area to see how this one goes. Let's look at Kiwi Dollar. I'm also in Kiwi Dollar here. It's basically identical. Kiwi Dollar, if you guys been following me, I've been talking about it for many, many weeks for this potential up move. It's pretty similar like Kiwi Swiss, right? Basically, it forms that continuation correction that we're looking for. Again, potential target previous high or the top of the overall structure for this potential move. And in terms of entry, again, it's very similar like Kiwi Swiss, right? We have this, if we look at the higher time frame, basically we have higher time frame impulse, higher time frame continuation. We had a bullish breakout from this larger structure. And on the lower time frame here, few swing highs, few swing lows here. And on the bottom here, once again, is that bearish push down, continuation, push down again, and there's no more continuation to go lower. Instead, it is the same inverse head and shoulder you're going to see. I always talk about when you see head and shoulder or inverse head and shoulder, they're best to be at the top or the bottom and combining with other price action structures and pattern. That's going to give you a better strike rate or better point of view. So same entry, entry above the correction, stop loss below. Price pushes up, so now we're breaking out of this potential correction now, which is great. So we're going to see whether or not we're just going to form a little bit of consolidation here and then continue the bullish trend. Again, my target is looking at this previous high here or the top of the overall structure. So that is Kiwi Dollar. We're going to talk about Dollar Cat. I'm also in Dollar Cat here. I think some of you guys are in Dollar Cat as well. Again, it's all these trades. If you follow me on Telegram, if you follow me on any of the stream, I've been talking about these for many, many weeks, right? So again, we have this bearish push down from the price, and then consolidation here, and then we have this kind of a ascending channel while we're in this bearish continuation correction. right? So again, we have a little bit of reversal. We push down. We're basically looking for a possible entry. I had the structure draw like this at the time. So some of you guys might enter this one as well. I personally did as well. And price basically tagged me in here and then just hovering around here for now. So happy to let this one run. Happy to see how this one will go. I like the risk reward to the downside. I think there is quite a bit of room to the downside and potentially looking at the previous low or the bottom of the low for a potential target. We'll see how this continuation goes for this impulsive move. Last one I want to go over is silver. I think some of you guys, or most of you guys, probably got in on silver as well. Again, we've been talking about silver from the bottom here, right? Bigger, higher time frame correction, bigger impulse that it's potentially coming. And basically, we did have the price break out the descending structure and then continuation here to look for an upside. Again, if you've been following me, we've been talking about silver for many, many weeks last month. I mentioned when the price hits this high here, it's likely to form into a deeper consolidation, which is exactly what happens here. So the previous two trade I had, I just end up closing it because at the time I wouldn't know if this is going to create a bigger consolidation or start dropping. So it's best to take profit here. And I always talk about that I'm expecting this larger inverse head and shoulder, right? Which is exactly what's happening here. We have the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and this right shoulder complete. There was probably an earlier entry. I think this could be a valid entry here. We have an inverse head and shoulder within the right shoulder here. So this could be a possible entry. This is during London session, so of course, those of you who know me, I miss these ones because I'm sleeping during the London session. But afterwards, we did get a bigger consolidation, so I enter here and stop loss below the correction. This was updated in the recap video. If you're interested, feel free to watch that. Again, target is this previous high now because if we see this inverse head and shoulder play out, I do expect this move to push up. And the main target is at the top of this descending structure. Okay, so those are the four trades that is currently running right now. As you can see, I have four position running live right now on my account. So those are the four positions I have. Of course, we'll update those as the week goes on. All right. So those are the trades I have currently. And let's take a look at the week ahead, right? Let's take a look at the week ahead. Um, just kind of reading on what you guys are saying here. And if you guys just let me know, this is how I'd like to do the stream now. I'm gonna go over the live position and I'll quickly go over my watch list for the week ahead. This usually doesn't take long, 10-15 minutes max. And then we will go over any pairs that you're looking at. So hold off on the pairs if you don't mind. Hold off on the pairs that you want me to take a look. I will quickly go through all these, and chances are some of these are the ones that you might be looking at as well. And then we will jump into any pairs you are looking at. Okay, thank you. Quality dropped to 720. Okay, that's good to know. I will look into that next stream. So thank you. I appreciate pointing that out. Again, I got a new laptop, so I'm trying to like I kind of change it around. This is where I stream on, right? This is the system I use to stream on. There's probably settings that I need to change and whatever. So I'll look into that next stream. So I appreciate letting me know that. Now, let's take a look at a couple of things here. I would say dollar index is something that we can look at. Now, for dollar index, I'm still fairly more looking for it of a bearish point of view. Some of you guys may see it differently, and that's fine, right? Again, follow your plan, right? To me, we had this push down originally, and then we started having this kind of a push up. But to me, this is more into kind of a rising wedge or standing structure, kind of a reversal kind of pattern that we're used to see. And we have this kind of a double top here. And I like how price, I think during the NFP time on Friday, trying to push up, there was positive news event, right? Positive favoring the dollar, but it did not push higher. Instead, we push down, we correct, and then we're pushing down, basically making this kind of a rising wedge or ascending structure very valid and we have that recent double top as well. So I fairly still have a bias of a bearish point of view on the price. Now I think there is different opinion on this, and that's fine. I remember I was looking at some of the comments in the chat. Someone mentioned about why is the dollar why is the dollar not getting strength after the news after stuff. And again, I remind everyone, news creates volatility, but it doesn't necessarily create directions. Okay, and that's something that only from experience and backtest we're able to tell you, right? I made this video a while back about this situation. So if you're kind of struggling to understand this, watch this video to does news event affect price action analysis and trading? So watch this video if you are not familiar with this kind of approach or this type of situation. Is the news certainly creates volatility. If you drop down to the lower time frame here, see like this is 12:30 GMT, right? So this is exactly NFP on Friday. And NFP push up and consolidate a little bit. And what is this forming, right? This is after the volatility settles down, what do we get here? Well, this is pretty clear head and shoulder, right? So even though the news favors the dollar, and people typically are thinking that, well, the news come out favoring the dollar is supposed to go up higher. Well, it did not, right? Because it creates volatility, and then once the volatility dies down, or once all the buy position are kicked in, the market tends to follow what happened afterwards, and this is kind of what we're seeing here, right? So head and shoulder at the top, we basically had a reversal impulse down, right? It originally was a bullish push up, reversal impulse down, and then looking like it's a continuation to go lower. And you can see it's just a bigger head and shoulder pattern once again, right? So when you see something like this, again, it's just come from experience and understand that news creates um, volatility, but it doesn't necessarily going to continue or preserve the direction. So to me personally, I'm looking more favor for a weakness in dollar. So I'm gonna look at overall this area here, whether or not we're gonna get pushed down for the price and then continue the dollar weakness. That is kind of how I see on dollar and the rest of this week. Now we went over Kiwi Dollar already, right? So Kiwi Dollar is looking pretty bullish to me, looking for a continuation for this upside. We went over this in the beginning of my position update. We can go over dollar CAD. We went over dollar CAD as well. This is another position I'm currently live in. Now let's look at dollar Singapore dollar. Dollar Singapore dollar is another one I have on my watch. Again, the overall price has pushed down very, very bearishly, and we form into this larger consolidation, which is good to see, right? A few swing high, a few swing low. And finally, we have this a little bit more development here. Originally, we pushed down here, we correct, and we push down, we follow by another consolidation. So last week we talked about, someone mentioned to me they got an entry at the top here, whether or not I think this was the entry. He showed me a reversal possible entry, and then we kind of form continuation to go down. Uh, I think the price is likely to push down more, and then just watching out for this previous low to see whether or not we're going to break past this previous low and then continue further. That's something that we would like to see, and then further down the dollar weakness as well. So those are the dollar pairs. I'll make sure to go over a few dollar pairs that you guys are looking at. So what am I trading? Went over this in the beginning already, so I have few position live right now. You can certainly rewind a little bit later, or I'll go over these again once I finish my watch list. Aussie Yen is one of them on my watch. Certainly, some of you guys are looking at it for a short. Personally, I'm more leaning towards a bullish bias. I do see this more of a bullish impulse on the higher time frame. And although this correction didn't really hold here to continue, but sometimes you're going to see move like this where it push down, it creates a pattern separation, right? This is a pattern separation. Again, if you're not familiar with this, go my playlist workshop videos. I talk about pattern separation in this workshop video, right? So it kind of explains what this means. So a pattern separation is going to help you to either strengthen your previous analysis or basically basically void your previous analysis, right? So this is a new pattern compared to this pattern here, which is nice to see. And whether or not this is going to be a continuation to go lower, sorry, or a possible reversal, this is a key now because this is a new pattern compared to this pattern here. And this can be a little bit tricky, even though it's coming from a bearish push down. But there's a possibility this can reverse up and then continuation, and then we start pushing up higher. So that's kind of what I mentioned in the watch list. I'm obviously not going to enter right here, but I'll be looking for a push up for the price and then continuation after. I think that is perfectly makes sense and fits my plan. Cat yen here, it's the same idea. Again, my bias here is more looking for a long, right? Because this is a really strong bullish up move. Over here, it hasn't really shown me anything that is going to be a bearish reversal. This is more looking like a continuation kind of pattern here, right? And then we're at the bottom of the overall structure. Again, we're not entering just because here or whatever, right? We want to wait for the confirmation push up and then confirmation continuation. I think that's going to be the way to go. So if this just start dropping, obviously there's no trade, no entry here. But if it does reverse back up, followed by continuation, I think that is totally fine to look for a potential entry and possibly continue the bullish run. So that is cat yen. Let's go over kiwi yen here. Uh, so those of you who are typing out the position, just bear with me. Like I said, I'm gonna go over all my watches first, right? This is gonna take about 10 minutes or so, and I'll answer any pairs that you guys are looking at. Okay, so I'm going really quickly here, but I will go over any pairs that you're typing in. Just bear with me on the time here. Kiwi yen. So Kiwi yen, same idea, right? I don't see the bearish bias. I see a more of a bullish bias. We have a push up on the price, and we're forming into a kind of another kind of flag or continuation. Now, if we look into the lower time frame here, you can see that this bearish push down was followed by a bearish continuation and then pushed down again, but there was no further downside anymore. Right? Again, this is why multi-time frame analysis is going to help you to analyze the market a little bit better, is that you understand that the bearish move down is not followed by a continuation. Instead, it's reversing back up. And that aligns with the overall higher time frame, aligns with the overall kind of more bullish bias. So to me is more looking at a bullish point of view. And that's kind of my plan here is because I'm in two Kiwi positions already, so I'm not likely to enter this, but I think the overall structure is there. I think the overall bullish bias is there, whether or not this kind of breaks out and then continuation to the upside. You can see the daily or the higher time frame here, we have this really strong bullish point of view. So again, it's just a perspective thing. I mean, getting these mixed reaction from people, a lot of people are looking to sell the yen pairs, and I think that's all fine, right? Again, follow your plan. It's just that by experience, by backtesting, when you see a strong bullish push up like that and you see consolidation, you don't see reversal right away, but you see consolidation. This generally leads to another upside, right? Generally, right? From a probability point of view. So that's why I'm more favoring the upside for most of the yen pairs. I know some of you guys are seeing it differently. Again, it's fine, right? I'm not going to be right on my forecast all the time. And this is why I always encourage all my followers and subscribers to make your own analysis, make your own forecast, because that is how you're going to be a better, consistent trader. So let's continue here. Euro Kiwi. Again, Euro Kiwi, I'm looking for a downside. Some of you guys were talking about potential up move. I think overall price is still pretty bearish all the way from here, right? You can see after coronavirus, this is coronavirus push up, impulse, and then continuation correction, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. So I think this has been pretty straightforward to a downside move ever since coronavirus on the top, right? So to me, if we look into this correction here a little bit more, it's that um, there was a head and shoulder at the top. There's a double top here, head and shoulder. We push down, we follow by a continuation, and we're pushing down again. So to me, it's just more likely that we're just going to push all the way down to the bottom here. And whether or not we're going to continue breaking down, I think breaking this previous low is really important. So wait for the price to break down, and then continuation is nice. But those of you who are already in the position from either the head and shoulder or this entry here, I think it's fine. Just hold it at break even, and then just monitor to see what the price will do. So that's Euro Kiwi. And last one, we talk about Kiwi Swiss, right? Kiwi Swiss overall higher time frame. Again, we have this kind of a descending structure. We have this strong impulse up, continuation price action. We'll push up again. Lower time frame, we had a few of these kind of bullish continuation price action. So you're basically expecting the same move here in the same area here as well. Went over the entry already. We're happy to go over again later, but this is another one I'm looking at for the week ahead, whether we're going to break out and continue or we might get reversal here. In that case, manage the trade accordingly. So those are all the Forex pairs for the week ahead. And I'm quickly going pretty quickly here. Just want to wrap up all the ones that I want to talk about, and then I will answer any pairs you're looking at, right? So silver is also a position I'm currently running. Again, we talked about this in the beginning of my position. Everything is looking aligned to exactly what I've been talking about a few weeks ago, right? Larger inverse head and shoulder. We break out of the descending structure as well, and higher time frame we zoom out. It basically aligns with all this bullish up move, continuation correction. You're looking for another impulse up from the bottom here. Um, Again, I think someone entered here. I think that's perfectly fine. I was probably looking at the same entry as well, but I just missed this entry because I was sleeping. So those of you who get a little bit upset if you miss entries, don't be, because that's how trading is. You're never going to catch all the move, but you should be still positive about the overall bias, your overall direction, and your overall analysis. So silver, I think this was the entry that was last entry, so I didn't really see any other additional entries. So if this does push up above this high here, then possibly look for another entry for those of you who haven't gotten on this one yet. So that's silver. I really don't see much else on commodities. Okay, now we'll go over gold later, but I prefer silver a lot more, as I've mentioned many times, because of the higher time frame and lower time frame. Uh, Not too much on the indices market, guys. I think some of you guys are talking about head and shoulder at the top. Sure, there's head and shoulder, but honestly, that's really not enough for me to show. Right? The difference here compared to, let's say, Dow Jones, where I enter, was that at the top, we actually have a sanding structure and we have a head and shoulder and we break down. I think that's the extra confluence that I look out for compared to NASDAQ here, which is just basically at the top, right? There's no additional sanding structure, there's nothing else here. So to me, that's probably not enough for me to look for entry. Now, I mentioned all the indices are pretty much at all-time high, right? So this is a good area to kind of just at least monitor to see what the price will do. We're not looking to short right away, but it's good to keep an eye on these because they might give you that possible reversal. So those are the indices. And last one to go over is really the crypto market. And again, all these ones are in my in my Telegram. So if you're interested, you watch these again or click these again. I'm just going to the favorite ones that I have on my watch list ahead. Now, Cardano, again, we've been waiting for this for a couple of weeks now, right? Just waiting for this correction to complete, push up, continuation to go, right? Very simple. That is the plan here. Atom, same idea is I like the consolidation we're building here. I like this impulsive move to the upside. So continuation after, wait for price to break above the high and wait for consolidation to look for a buy. Binance Coin, those of you who got in on this exact price, good job on you. I mentioned this a few weeks ago already. When we break the previous high, look for consolidation and look for the next buy, right? So likely to push up to all-time high now. Bitcoin is really the only one I really want to consider entry if it does give me the possible entry. We talk about Bitcoin many times over, and we mentioned ever since at the bottom here, this is the reversal correction, right? We mentioned this multiple times when the price push down like this, and when it's not going to bearishly continue down, instead it's a bullish reversal. Right? This is clearly showing you that this was the reversal point of the price, and price impulse up, correct, impulse up, and correction in the making, right? Breaking the all-time high means nothing, right? We don't treat these as a resistance or anything. We treat it as an area where price likely to react to. And this is exactly why we don't get FOMO here, because price briefly break the all-time high and then trap all the buyers here, and then price push down, taking them out. But what it does really is, after the strong impulsive move, price is just forming into another consolidation. You can see there's a push up on the price now. My plan here is wait for the price to at least break this previous high, and then if there's consolidation, look for another buy. Solana has been pushing high, very high as well. I have Solana just in coins. I didn't really trade this. I took a loss here if I recall. And we're breaking above the all-time high again, right? So wait for consolidation. It's likely to consolidate here, and wait for another buy here if it gives you that opportunity. Certainly, we can see price has been pushing up very, very impulsively ever since June, right? We push up the price very, very strong. So we're likely to continue after this is already the consolidation phase of the price. We're breaking above the all-time high, so expect further consolidation to push higher. Last one I want to go over is Ripple. So Ripple here, again, we talk about Ripple. This is the entry that I talk about, right? We wait for the consolidation to finish, wait for price to break up, wait for a continuation, and then wait for the next impulse. So I'm not sure if you guys got in on this one, but we talked about this one again a few weeks ago as well. So if you're in the trade, watch to see what will happen here, and then this previous high as well. Okay. So I went through these quite fast, but that is again everything. All the screenshots are here in Telegram. You're welcome to rewatch or re-look at the charts, re-look at the screenshots, or rewatch this later to catch what I mean. But I just want to get that out of the way first for those people who stay for the watch this. But I'm happy to answer some questions now. I'm looking at what you guys are saying in the chat. So so let's look at a few pairs that you guys are looking at. Again, euro dollar. Some of you guys are looking at euro dollar. I would say euro dollar is probably what I see it as similarly like what you guys are saying. I do see it more bullishly. I do see a potential double bottom here on the lower time frame. And I do see the same kind of structure here, just like dollar index as well, right? Dollar index is basically doing the same exact thing, which is nice to see. We have this kind of inverse head and shoulder. If we go on to the lower time frame here, we have an inverse head and shoulder. Price pushes up, and we're pushing up pretty aggressively now. So I think if you wait for a consolidation here, it's possibly an entry. Now, because we have seen euro dollar kind of in this kind of formation for the last couple of weeks now, right? So I'm a little bit more cautious. I think there's better dollar pairs to get involved in rather than euro dollar here. But I definitely do see I would say my bias here is certainly long rather than short. Again, I think there's a couple other better dollar pairs, but in likelihood is the dollar going to move, they're likely to move together anyways. So choose your dollar pair wisely. Dollar index, someone mentioned about inverse head and shoulder on the 4-hour time frame. I'm not sure what you're looking at in terms of inverse head and shoulder. Are you talking about this, or are you talking about the smaller one, or something like in here? I'm not sure what you're looking at. Probably share a screenshot would be better. But again, if you're looking at a smaller-ish time frame wise, when we talk about head and shoulder or inverse head and shoulder, I always talk about they're better when they're at the bottom or the top, right? When you see a head and shoulder, you want to be at the top of the overall structure, right? When you see a inverse head and shoulder, you want to be at the bottom of the overall structure, right? Something like this, right? That's going to help you to at least add to your confluence. Um, that's the overall what I see. Don't really see a head and shoulder, unless you're talking about this, but this really doesn't look like a head and shoulder to me. But everyone has their own preference, so don't let me stop you if you're going too low, right? I'm just pointing out my bias here and what I see. So let's take a look at a few pairs, guys. If you guys are live, throw me some pairs to look at. I'm kind of looking at the chat. We went over Euro Dollar, we went over Dollar Index, Euro Swiss long. Let's take a look. Make sure you put long or short, guys. Those of you who are new, I would prefer you put long or short on the pairs that you're looking at because this is a better engagement. Euro Swiss long, well, we've been kind of looking at long ever since kind of when the price was in this consolidation. And I was looking at to see what possible we're going to get a long here for this potential double bottom, but price continued to push down here. Now we're at this bottom of the structure, sure, that's one confluence, but this area hasn't really given me enough of a bias to reverse, right? It hasn't give you that confirmation yet. Sure, there is consolidation. I don't admit, I do see that, but I would prefer the price to push up, right? The impulse phase is going to confirm the possibility of the bullish reversal. Because when you zoom out here, this move has been pretty sharp, right? You can see that price has been forming a few correction to push down, right? Impulse correction, and then large impulse. So this is overall a bearish trend here. So for me to consider anything to go long, I don't think this is enough, right? You want to see price to break out here and then continuation after. I think this entry here would be a much better entry compared to the current situation where because you can easily just push up here and then still reverse down after, just like what we have seen here, or just like what we have seen here as well. So that's Euro Swiss, Euro Yen low. Yeah, personally, kind of what I've been saying is like I more favor the yen pairs being long rather than short. Again, it's just personal preference, right? So for those of you who are looking for short, not a problem, right? This is kind of what I've been saying over and over for many, many years. I mean, many, many months, sorry, not many, many years. I've been saying to always follow your plan because that's how you're going to be a better, consistent trader. Now, what I do see on Euro Yen here is that originally I did have a more of a short bias, and I did have a short sell here as well. Like bears pushed down, form a continuation, and then we're looking for short. But that really did not happen. We basically made a bottom here and then we pushed up now. Now, if we look at the lower time frame here, to me this is more likely a consolidation rather than a right away bearish pushdown, depending on how you see this. Some of you guys might draw the structure like this, and this might be a bearish pushdown from your point of view. I think that's fine. Again, I'm more leaning towards a bullish bias because judging by how much the price has already moved up, right? This is a sharp impulsive move and likely this is just more of a consolidation to me personally. So I would see this part as almost a reversal rather than a continuation. So similar like cat yen, right? If you want to wait for price to break down here and then consolidate, this could be a possible entry, or you want to wait for price to break out of that larger consolidation here and look for the entry here. I think that's all fine. Again, my bias here is more leaning towards a bullish view, right? So that's kind of how I'm going to follow through with it. But if you have a bearish move, right? If you have a bearish kind of bias, follow through with your plan as well, right? You should have a confirmation of how you're going to enter, sell if that's in your plan, then execute accordingly. So that's Euro Yen. Pound Aussie low. Now, I remember, I think it was a week ago or maybe last week, someone in the chat was like, Pound Aussie was taking off. They had the structure drill like this, and then price pushed up. It didn't really continue to go up. Instead, it kind of just reversed down. Now, I'm fairly neutral when it comes to this one. I think if we zoom out here again, when you're too zoom in, sometimes you don't see the overall higher time frame. what I see here is just a massive bearish pushdown, right? This is clearly a impulsive phase on the higher time frame. Now we had some reversal or pullback, however you want to call this, but this can still easily just kind of push up and then form into a consolidation and continue lower, right? So what I mean by fairly neutral is just that I'm not really looking to go long or short. I just think that because the bearish move is so strong, going long here right away may not be ideal. Like I don't really see a long, like except this could be a correction, sure, and this can push up, sure, but is it likelihood to start reversing from all this previous move? I don't think so. I think we're likely to get consolidation here, whether we see it like this or whether we form into something different. I still see the bearish strength pretty strong. Right? I still see the strength in Aussie dollar is quite strong in this case. Whether or not the consolidation happens here, I personally is not looking to go long here. Pound dollar long. Yeah, I didn't have this on watch because I was kind of more, I kind of think I missed the entry already, but I think pound dollar long was exactly kind of what we also kind of look at, right? Originally, when the price was somewhere here, right? In my watch this last few weeks, I mentioned I'm only interested if the price breaks up and then continuation after. That did not happen, right? So the price drops down. Good. Well, we drop down to the bottom. This is exactly where I mentioned also is that watch the price to hit this bottom here. And if it doesn't continue down more, if it start reversing, that's a good sign for the market, right? Because it's showing you that this is a double bottom here. And look at how price formed. You have that inverse head and shoulder pattern, right? So again, this is how we effectively use patterns and structures to your advantage, right? You're seeing an inverse head and shoulder. At the bottom, you're having that double bottom there, and you want to see these at the bottom rather than middle of nowhere or at the top, whatever, because they're a bullish reversal rather than anything else, right? So you see an inverse head and shoulder, it's pushing up. I think this was the entry that we should have gotten, but I missed it. I missed it during the limited session again. Now, it's whether or not we're going to get continuation after, right? This is exactly kind of what we're going to see if we're going to get another move up. So preferably another continuation just like this, and then we're going to push up higher. Now, depending on how you see this, because when you look at higher time frame, I like how we had this bottom, we have this really strong bullish reversal upward, right? And overall, everything still aligns with kind of what we've been talking about. This could be just a larger bullish correction to continue. Well, as long as we confirm, break out of the descending structure and continue, I definitely do think we have another leg up to the upside, which is something that we can look out for further for this week or next week after. Swiss yen short. Now, I personally is not, again, it's just the same yen pairs, and I think we talked about this a few times, is that I remember some of you guys are looking for this as a head and shoulder, and probably work out for you if you are in the sell. And I think last week I mentioned was that that was not enough for me to sell, but what will be is if it push down to this low here, and then we form another consolidation, we form a larger head and shoulder at the top of the ascending structure, and at the top of the higher time frame parallel channel and at this double top, right? So I do agree this is probably the only yen pairs that I do see a potential in sell, but I personally wasn't really looking to short here, okay? But I explained that what I would be interested in is if we can get a larger head and shoulder like this, right? So left shoulder, head, right shoulder like this, a larger, more tangible on the mid time frame rather than a more smaller one here. So went over pound Aussie already, went over Swiss yen, UK 100 short, dollar yen, I missed that, right? Dollar yen, Dollar yen short. Personally, I'm more looking at this as a potential long because of what the price is doing. This is more looking again. It's just you have to be a little bit more zoom out, and I see this more as a bullish push up, right? This is a bullish impulse. Same thing with a couple other yen pairs that are also in this formation. It's just that I see this as a more continuation personally, right? I see this as a more continuation. It only if this drops below and then correct after, I think that's more of a bearish point of view. But to me, this is just a larger consolidation to correct this move, right? Um, this move has been pushing up very, very, very aggressively. 500 pips, 550 pips or so. So it's naturally to see the price consolidate. Okay, so that's why I think I'm more leaning towards the upside. Now, I don't really see an entry or anything, but I'm more leaning towards that. As long as we still hold within the structure here, as long as we're still within, as long as this doesn't break down and then continue lower, then I'm more leaning towards a reversal up and then perhaps a continuation here to continue. But that's my personal opinion on it. Make sure you put long or short on the pairs you want me to take a look. That will be a better engagement. UK 100 short. Yeah, I was looking at UK 100 short, and this was one of the analysis I made, I think, from last week. I like how we have a larger kind of a structure here on the higher time frame. We have a potential double top here, and this could be a potential structure that we're in the making. Now, I think I mentioned this last week as well, is I would prefer for the price to at least correct here, finish this correction, and then push down, followed by continuation to look for sell. I think that's just going to be a um, better entry, so to speak. The higher time frame bias is there, the lower time frame bias is there, but I think pushing down, followed by consolidation, is going to be better in this case. Kiwi dollar, we went over this earlier, right? Kiwi dollar went over this earlier already. You're basically looking for continuation upside here once the correction finished, right? And this is exactly kind of what we get here. Looking for the previous high as a potential target or this possible high. Now, if you look at the overall price here, we did impulsively break out of this structure here, right? This is good impulsive move. So I think waiting for the consolidation here is definitely the good idea. If you haven't gone into this entry, if this fits your plan to enter, I think that's totally fine. And look for this previous high as a potential target. Binance Coin, I went over that earlier, right? I went over this was the possible entry to get. I know some of you guys got in on this. I saw some of the screenshot that you shared with me. Um, if you're looking for another buy, because we're getting very close to the all-time high here, so I really wouldn't be buying here anymore. Like the buy should already happen. So if you miss the possible buy, I definitely will not be buying here. What I would do is wait for the price to impulsively break the all-time high here, and if it forms consolidation, then look for the buy here after, right? It's just because this move has already finished, right? So jumping here is almost like a fear of missing out, so to speak. The entry already happened when we break the previous high, right? So now you have to wait for another break above the high and then wait for the consolidation here. So that's Binance Coin. Yeah, gold. A lot of you guys are looking at gold, and I don't know what direction you're looking at, but personally, I'm more leaning towards the upside. Someone mentioned they are uh looking for gold, looking for sell. Again, follow through with your plan, right? I'll explain my point of view is nothing changes from the higher time frame once again, right? If you zoom out, this is just a massive impulsive move to the upside, right? We formed consolidation here, and then we had to me, I kind of changed up my chart through the weekend. I think this is more of an impulsive move, and now it's a pattern on its own rather than kind of how I used to draw it, which is something like this. I think this is more of a pattern separation from the impulsive move, and this could be a new pattern on its own. And we're basically breaking out of that structure now, and there's a continuation here. So to me, I'm more leaning or favoring the upside rather than a sell, or some of you guys are looking at that. But again, follow with your confirmation, right? I would prefer for the price to break above these high though, right? This is kind of the previous high the price is struggling to break above. Preferably break above and then a continuation. I think that's going to be a better confirmation of an up move rather than at this current stage. But if you enter here, I think that's fine as well. But I'm just looking at this previous high that the price basically is failing to break above, right? Let's move on here. Aussie Yen short. I went over this earlier, right? I'm more leaning towards a potential reversal if this correction reverse, right? I mentioned exactly kind of what I say here is only if the price reverse up followed by continuation, then I would look for a possible entry. Again, some of you guys might see this as however you see it. Maybe you see this as a more bearish push down, sure. Again, to me, this is a pattern separation, right? This was the original pattern. This is a new pattern. Now we separate from the previous one. It really all depends on if this is going to be a bearish continuation or this is going to be a bullish reversal. So I think here is the key point. If you're in these positions, just watch out for what the price will do from this point forward. But personally, I'm more leaning towards the upside move. Aussie CAD long. So I have Aussie CAD structure draw like this is to me more of a descending structure. Now, because we didn't really break above this high here, so not really on my watch list, but I would say it's the same thing here, right? There's a consolidation here, price push up. Likelihood is we're getting another consolidation here. But I would prefer the price to actually break above these high, right? Actually push up here, continuation after. I think that's going to be a better buy here uh, compared to the current stage. Now, current stage is going to be a little bit risky because we did reverse down, right? And if we zoom in a little bit, this can even be classified as a head and shoulder as well at the top of the overall structure. So to me, it's a little bit dangerous, so to speak, right? I would prefer for the price to break up first. Now, of course, entering here, if you do choose to enter here, it's obviously better risk reward, so to speak. But it's also a little bit more risky than if you wait for price to break out here and then continue to the high. Why can I watch your previous videos? What do you mean by previous videos? Like in my stream from previous video? Like are you clicking them through my playlist? Like these ones that you cannot watch? Like these are sure all free to watch. They're all available, so I'm not sure what you mean. But it's all available. Maybe refresh your screen or refresh your computer to watch. I think it should be okay. Kiwi Dollar short. Personally, I'm more like looking for upside, but it seems to be dropping. I don't think it's dropping, my friend, unless you're really looking at the 1 minute chart or something, right? We don't look at that long, right? We're not really here to scalp, right? We're looking for what confirms us is multi-time frame analysis, right? We're not looking at the 1 minute or the 5 minute chart. We're looking at from the higher time frame down to the lower time frame and then entering through a multi-time frame analysis point of view. So personally, I'm leaning towards upside, right? Because I'm already in this trade here as well. Um, I'm more leaning towards an upside move here from the price, depending on what this area will do, right? We have this overall impulse up, so I'm more leaning towards the upside. If we get a consolidation here, which is kind of what we want to see in this case, then potentially you're going to see another upside move. But again, that's my personal bias, right? So if you see it as a short, of course, follow through with your plan, right? No right and wrong, as I always kind of tell people. Win USD, sure, let's take a look. Can I go down to 0.002, like up move? I mean, if I just zoom out, I don't really trade this or anything. If we look at this latest price development, just the latest one, is that you can see that price had some bullish momentum, right? We push up, we have a few consolidation, but the most important part is actually this part, in my opinion, is that have an inverse head and shoulder, we have a bullish kind of continuation pattern here. So impulse up, correction, impulse up, correction, and then impulse up. And looking by this, like, is this going to be another continuation? Well, it's a little bit hard to tell, right? It's a little bit hard to tell whether this is going to break up and then continue upwards. So I'm going to be fairly neutral on this. I think this area is a little bit off. If we zoom in a little bit, right? Like this is, you can consider this as almost a bearish push down as well. So I want to see if the price can actually break above this high first. And if it does, then perhaps this is the new structure or the new bullish point of view. But again, breaking above this high is more uh, more more reasonable to look for a buy here. Okay, but I don't really trade these smaller ones, so I don't really look at it that much. But if I'm looking at this part of the price, right, I want to see price break above the high here first. What can happen with corn? Well, let's take a look. I originally got in on corn. I just got out of the position somewhere here. Again, I'm more leaning towards the buy, right? I see this overall higher time frame is more bullish rather than bearish. I see this as an impulsive move. This is just possibly a higher time frame consolidation. And we did have the impulsively break, but it's just kind of on a lower time frame and has been kind of pushing down already. So what can happen here? Well, if we can form into a bigger consolidation like this, it takes maybe a couple of weeks, then perhaps we might be seeing this as an inverse and shoulder to go continue. But of course, if this is going to start dropping down, then the previous kind of bullish bias that we had was no longer applicable, right? What you can expect potentially from the price is a possible bearish point of view like this, right? Something like this as well, right? So we push down, correct, and then possibly push down. So again, this is more on us to be patient here and just waiting for the price to develop a little bit more, right? Because you can kind of argue both kind of scenario, and if you can argue both scenario, then it's best to stay out of that for now. Do I trade crypto in Rwanda? I don't. I use Kraken Coinbase to trade or invest in crypto. I don't really, well, put it this way, in Canada, we cannot trade crypto in Rwanda. It's just a Canadian regulation. But Rwanda elsewhere in the world probably allows you to do that. I'm not sure. But not in Canada for crypto. I use Kraken, I use Coinbase. Um, it's probably good to trade crypto with a crypto exchange and broker rather than a Forex one. That's just my personal opinion on that. Okay, so I did went over a bunch of altcoins, right? I don't know you were watching me. I went over all these ones. They are on in my watch list as well. So I went over all these ones to consider. So again, Ripple is good. You look at this potential entry is kind of already happened. Solana is another one that you can wait for consolidation. Matic is the consolidation here, looking for a breakout and continuation. Um, Atom waiting for the breakout above the previous high and consolidate to go, and Cardano as well. So those are the ones that I have in mind for a potential move. But please don't treat it as signal for you to buy and sell. These are analysis and forecasts. They have to wait for confirmation before you enter. So please don't enter right away like that without your own view or your own bias. Cat Swiss long. Um, so I talk about this on the higher time frame that I do kind of see a potential long from just the higher time frame in general. But you can see this top here, like this move in the lower time frame has really, I don't really like something like this, right? Let's be honest, it's not really moving down impulsively. It's kind of moving down correctively, right? This is more looking like a descending structure. But we usually want to see descending structure at the bottom, right? Like at the bottom of the price, that usually gives you a better potential reversal. Now, so I'm fairly a little bit more neutral on this. While I do see a descending channel, preferably price needs to give you that confirmation breakout, confirmation correction to go, right? Other than that, I'm fairly neutral. Like I'm not really looking for long or short in this kind of price action. Even though the higher time frame could be a continuation, it's just that this move pushing down, it's throwing me off a little bit. So I'm really not consider one until a little bit better development that will form. Okay, so that's Cat Swiss, Sugar, ascending channel. I guess depends on how you draw this. Perhaps you draw it like this. So this could be a continuation rather than ascending. I guess. Well, this is an impulsive move. This is a continuation. So if price breaks down followed by continuation, then yeah, that could be a possible entry depending on how you see this. And we're in this larger ascending structure as well. Okay, so this is something that could keep an eye on. So I'll keep a small watch list on this. I think this can be a possible continuation if wait for this part of the correction finish. Okay. Thanks a lot, Seth. Appreciate it. Thank you. You've been sending me coins all the time. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. ICP, I think I have that. It's a good time to break entry for long. That all depends. I'm really not seeing a long right away from this current price. Like you can see this overall move, like let me just kind of zoom out a bit, is that you can see this move has been very, very, very sharp pushing down, right? This is an overall bearish kind of view if you look at how the price has pushed down. So while after this bearish push down, there is really not much else going on here. It doesn't really give me any bullish bias or anything. Rather, this almost look like a price push down again. This could be a possible bearish continuation. So even if it break this high, forming continuation, not really interesting. I probably would be much better off if it breaks this high here, because all this part of the price here that has been doing since June, it's really just consolidation, right? There's really not much bullish momentum in this part of the price lately, right? And this almost looked like a further bearish continuation rather than a bullish reversal to the upside. Okay, so even if this pushes up followed by bullish continuation, I'm really not interested to buy. Okay, so I think there's just better crypto pairs to get involved in. Where do I see AVAX? AVAX has already pushing up. I remember a couple of weeks ago we talked about this potential continuation push up. I didn't really see a correction to enter or anything, but price did indeed push up. We're already breaking above all-time high, right? So naturally, you're going to expect this to continue further. But I wouldn't just, again, I wouldn't be jumping in at this current stage, right? You want to be waiting for at least a consolidation like this, if it's a small one or a larger one, something like this, right? What you don't want to do is to try to jump in here because that's usually FOMO. You see the price push up already. You want to save a little bit of money in this case, right? Because you want to wait for consolidation, such as this scale or maybe this scale, depending on your preference, right? But definitely don't jump in when the price is in that impulsive move already because it's likely to consolidate a little bit. And then if you jump in here, what if it just kind of correctively move down, tagging you out, but end up just forming another consolidation to continue higher, right? So that's kind of how I see on this one. Hey, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I did go over gold already, but I will talk about gold again. I personally is more favoring silver, right? That's kind of what I've been saying it for a while, but I see gold more. I personally see more gold being bullish rather than bearish. That's just personally my opinion on it. I see more as if you look at the higher time frame, nothing changes. We have this bullish push up, continuation, pattern separation here. It's a new pattern that we're seeing here now and I like how price is breaking up. There is a consolidation here. But what I did mention is these previous high, the price hasn't been able to break through, right? So what we prefer is whether you consolidate here to break up or just pushes up and then form continuation after. Look for the next high as a potential area, right? For a target. But if you ask me for a mid to long term outlook, I have no doubt I do more see upside here in the future to come. So dot USD, but why would you look for sure when we have this kind of really strong bullish push up? Um, I mean we break the all-time high here, right? So perhaps there's something here to make you think it's a short. Maybe you see this as a head and shoulder. I'm not sure. But generally, when you see price breaks all-time high, and if there's consolidation here, we're going to look for a long, right, rather than a short, right? I think the short makes more sense if it does push down, and if it does form a continuation like this. Now you have a larger head and shoulder, you reject this double top, and you have a bearish reversal. Right? That should be the short you're looking for rather than in this current area where not much has developed yet, right? So that's more I'm leaning towards a upside if we get consolidation here, right? But if you're looking for sell, I wouldn't be selling here. I would sell if the price pushes down, followed by continuation to sell. Because that creates this, it creates a double top, it creates that false breakout, and then catching traders wrong side, and then price push down, and then bearish push down afterwards, basically. Um, Dogecoin, no, I don't really see much here. I think this overall is just a larger consolidation. Now, originally I was seeing this as a possibility of price pushing up, was looking pretty clean, but it didn't really push up higher. It didn't really break up all these highs. So when I start looking at it more, I think this overall is just another consolidation, which is not good to see, so to speak, because you have all this price pumping to the upside and then really crash down, right? Just crash down, push down to here. And while there is a lot of bullish momentum here, this hasn't really confirmed anything to go upside yet, right? This is just more of a consolidation rather than anything, in my opinion. And I don't think buying here or right away is good. I think if the price can break above these previous high and continue, at least it shows you that this period consolidation might be over and possibly we can get a reversal up move, right? Because this bearish move down doesn't have to continue, right? It can just be in a consolidation and end up reversing up. But at this current stage, we don't really see much developing here, right? So I think it's better to wait for the bullish push up for the price to at least confirm the further upside. Um, so a lot of people are looking for Shiba and things like that. I personally really not interested in kind of coins like these, but this is what we talked about last time when price finished the consolidation, right? Same thing with Dogecoin, right? When we see the same kind of consolidation and price push up followed by consolidation, that pushes up again. Now, I remember last week I was looking at this and I mentioned about this can possibly be a sell because we're not seeing, we see a bearish push down, we see a continuation push down lower. Now, it pushes down, but again, this is good about what price action shows you is that it pushes down, no continuation to go lower. Instead, it's a bullish up move, and this could even be a bullish continuation. So depending on how you see the structure, this could be the new structure now. Now, I personally don't really want to trade this or hold any coins of this, just personal preference. I'm not here to debate on this, but I preferably want to see this structure complete, right? Like this consolidation to finish, and then we break up and then continue upside. But just be aware at the previous all-time high here. That's all I have to say about this one. So, okay, so any other question, guys? Any other question or any pairs want me to take a look at? If I miss any pairs or questions, welcome to let me know. Uh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, make sure you guys understand. I'm just kind of explaining my view on it, right? It's not. I'm not always going to be right on my forecast or analysis, right? This is why, again, I emphasize on everyone do your own analysis as well because it's going to help you, right? I say this a few times in the stream already because I always still get these messages from, other people or random different traders in my group or in my channel, whatever, asking about these situations. Well, I'm not always going to be right, right? Let's be honest, right? I cannot be right on my analysis every single one of them. It's just not possible. If I was, then there's no need of risk management and risk reward and things like that, right? That's why I always emphasize, if you have a different bias than me, great, right? It's fine to have a different bias, and if you have a different bias, wait for that confirmation to happen and then enter accordingly, right? What you don't want to do is compare yourself with others and then, if you have a long bias and somebody else has a short bias and you at the end didn't enter because someone else didn't enter and that end up causing you to enter the trade and you get more upset or emotional on that, right? So follow your plan and then that's going to help you to be a better trader. And trust me, that's going to help you in the long run, okay? Sure. Let's look at Litecoin here. I don't see short, right? This is just a bullish push up, so I'm not sure what you're seeing in terms of short. I think this is overall more bullish, right? You have this push up, you have correction, you have another correction here. So this is overall pushing up. So I'm not sure the short bias here, but you could wait and see what price will do when it reach this high here, whether or not it's going to form bearish reversal. But honestly, at this point, I don't really see a short at all. This is just a overall bullish push up. And really, you're not going to short here just because you see a bearish candle like this on the lower time frame, right? That's certainly not enough to short in this kind of situation. I would wait for the price to hit this previous high and then monitor to see whether or not there is bearish reversals. I think that's it, guys. I'm not really planning to go into all these other cryptos. I kind of outlined all the bigger cap ones. I'm really not into smaller cap ones or ones that are not too noticeable, to be honest. Because crypto to me is more of an investment rather than trading them. And I already outlined the ones that I think it's going to be a little bit bigger potential, right? So those are the ones that I'm focusing on for the week ahead or, next, weeks to come kind of thing. So, um, in reality, guys, focus on the bigger cap one because you're going to get bigger exposures on them, right? And that's the better ones to focus on. Someone mentioned to me about there was a Squid Game coin or something like that. I don't know which one it is exactly, but someone told me it just went straight to zero or something and pretty much take all the people's money with them or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure which one it is or whatever, but I don't even know the symbol. But just people told me about this situation, and then I was just kind of wow, like this happened in literally like 5 minutes, right? So like this is crazy, right? It pushes up and then pushes down massively. Basically just taking out all these people's money, right? Whoever is cashing out their coins or whatever. So um, I'm not saying that will happen to the ones that you're looking at or anything. I'm just saying that this is why I want to focus on the bigger cap one, the ones that has been around for longer and has good utility to do what they're doing, so to speak. So I already went over Cat Swiss earlier, by the way, so I'm fairly neutral on Cat Swiss, kind of mentioned that earlier, is I'm not really looking for long or short. Higher time frame could be a more of a bullish outlook, but the lower time frame here, it's looking like a descending structure, but I'm not seeing an immediate bullish up move yet. I would prefer price to break up and then continuation after. That's probably better. But even that, I'm not really looking for entry. I just, again, this is the filtering process, right? I don't really see a buy here. I don't really see anything right off the bat. So I don't know why you keep asking me about altcoins. I went over that many, many times. I went over all the watch lists I have here. I went through all the pairs as well. So really not here to go through all that just for you. I apologize, but I already did that, right? So I'm not here to, give you that kind of stuff. I give you analysis, give everyone possible outlook, but you should have your own view on them, right? Instead of just following me. Kind of, I made the whole speech about that, right? I think that's it, everyone. Unless there's any last minute questions, I'm happy to answer. But I think I don't know about you guys if this is a better stream presentation than before. Before I was kind of more going through like Forex pairs and then commodity pairs, indices, and crypto in that order. I find that if I can finish all my watch lists first, so at least people who watch it can get the watch list from me, and then answer all the pairs or any questions you guys may have afterwards. I think that's a better presentation. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can give me some feedback on that. I'll appreciate that. This actually way it's a little bit faster as well. So to me, it's a little bit faster for me, and I can at least talk a little bit more and etc. Right. So I hope that is good for you guys. Euros are. Did we talk about that last week? I remember we did, right? We talked about that double top, right? Yeah, exactly. So if you're in the trade, good job, right? I think last week it was you who asked me about this one, and I mentioned about the double top. I mentioned about the potential bearish push down. I'm not sure if you got in on this entry or the next after. I'm not sure, but I think it's pushing down now. So it basically follow dollars are, so to speak, right? Dollars are here. It's pretty much identical in this case. So that's looking good, right? If you're in this one, so look to hold on to it if you are. I mean, I don't really trade resistance, right? So I'm not really sure what you mean resistance. Maybe you see this as a resistance, but I mean, even for someone like me who doesn't trade support resistance, understand support resistance require three previous touch or whatever, right? So is this something you call resistance? If it is, then follow through with your plan, right? If you plan to short here, go ahead and do so, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's up to your plan, of course. Sure, follow through with your plan, right? So I always encourage people to not just follow me. If you want to short here, go ahead and short, right? If that's your confluence to short, go ahead and do so, right? So my view on market fundamental analysis, nothing against that, of course. People trade all kinds of different strategy, style, method. There's nothing wrong with looking at fundamental and news and decide to trade. I personally don't. I just look at just the technical side of things, just the pure technical aspect of trading. Again, nothing wrong with how we trade or how which method you decide to implement to be your go-to setups or something like that, right? It's just how it is. But I would always encourage people to understand the volatility of following fundamental news because it creates volatility. Again, I'm not sure what you mean because maybe I'm talking about what I think about the fundamental and maybe you're referring to something else. Fundamental to me is people following kind of news events, following, typical rate announcement decisions or anything like that to make their decision on trading. Um, Personally, it's kind of what I said in the beginning of the stream is I think news does create volatility, but not necessarily directions. Again, that's just up to people to, see it this way or not, right? Like we went over all the ones that we talk about, right? When news creates volatility, when a positive dollar news comes out, which is exactly what happened here last Friday, but that does not change the overall direction because after the volatility finish, we create a head and shoulder, we push down, we fall across, and we pushing down lower. So that's really what I have to say. And again, I never will back talk anything about any other strategies or trade. It's not like typical, scammers or guru. They're always gonna say they're the better strategy and others are not. I never say that. I think all strategy, style, and method work. It's up to that trader to execute. So you can have the best strategy, the best method, the best uh, entries, you can still not be profitable because of trading psychology, because of mindset and emotion, right? So any strategy really all work out in their respective right. It's just the person, the trader themselves who's executing it. Do they actually follow their plan to execute? Do they have good risk management? Do they control their mindset and emotion at bay? All that factors in so much than just technical analysis. It's kind of what I've been saying over and over again. I didn't talk about Ethereum. I can take a look at it quickly. Yeah, till Wednesday, Herman. Nice. Ethereum, we break the all-time high, right? This is kind of very, very good that we see this break all-time high and we see a continuation. Where was I remember kind of Bitcoin making the same move here, right? So bearish push down, right? Reversal correction, impulsive move, continuation, impulsive move, we break all-time high, and continuation here, right? So definitely fits your plan too, and fits my overall plan in this situation when we break all-time high and we have continuation, right? So this is all good if you're in Ethereum, good for you, right? It's continue to pushing up, that's good. Remember all the way from the bottom here, we've been talking about the push up from the bottom here, right? It basically continue to pushing up higher and higher as we go, right? So this is good news for crypto, right? And I think for Bitcoin as well, it's doing the same thing. It's a little bit slower, but we did break the all-time high and we're en route to form another continuation, which is nice to see. Um, Dollar yen, yeah, I'm more leaning towards the upside personally. I see this as a potential bullish continuation rather than a bearish move down. So I'm basically going to watch and see what will happen here, right? And it's going to whether or not form a bottom here and then possibly reverse up. Now, if this drops down and form a bearish correction, then obviously I'm not interested in here anymore. But if we still hold, so if we're still in this consolidation, and perhaps we consolidate a little bit more, then as long as we're still holding in this consolidation, I'm still leaning towards a upside move personally. Tesla, yeah, Tesla has been pushing up aggressively. I actually expect, my original thought was we're going to get a consolidation here to push up higher, but it just continue pushes up. Like personally, I have Tesla share all the way here, right? So I've been holding Tesla through this. So in this last few weeks, it just kind of exploded to the upside. So that's actually pretty good news to know. Pretty good news to be holding it. I think it basically almost quadruple up in this last year and 3 months or so, right? This is where I held. Well, I got Tesla shares here. We've been just massively pushing up. At some point, though, in my opinion, we're just going to get a consolidation because this cannot continue up just like this move is likely to correct before another up move. And if we zoom out here, it's the same as every other time before, right? After an impulsive move, price needs to correct. After an impulsive move, price needs to correct. And it's the same thing here, price push up needs to correct, right? So same idea here. I expect a consolidation here. How big or how small, that's obviously we cannot predict that, but I likely do see a consolidation for another up move here. Okay, we broke the all-time high impulsively, right? It's not just a little bit break and then push down. We break the high impulsively, so expect continuation to the upside, right? It's just how price, it's just how the market moves. Uh, Copper, we can take a look at that. Copper. So with the EV boom, chances are these gonna cost more. Is that kind of what you're more referring to? Possibly. I kind of more looking at if I'm just looking at purely from technical copper here. This is at the previous all-time high, right? So I kind of want to see what will happen here. It's a lot of consolidation here, right? So it's a little bit unclear. Originally, I thought this could be a bullish continuation to go higher, but they pretty much make a double bottom and it's pushing down, so that's not applicable anymore. So I want to see what's going to happen in this area, whether or not we're going to push down one more time before it pushes up, or during some point during the mid here, we're just going to impulsively break and then continuation upwards after. Either or, I think this is an area of consolidation where we can be a little bit more um, cautious and waiting for a little bit more development. because we can also argue that this could be a double top here and price eventually form into a reversal and push down. Uh, so I'm gonna see what will happen here, but I'm more leaning towards upside in my opinion or in my bias here. Once this consolidation finish, because we can see this move has been pretty strong, right? Correction and then a larger impulse up. This could be a larger consolidation to push higher, right? But it's not ready yet. Nothing is here that is confirmed yet, right? So we'll just have to wait and see. Uh, I don't know about those symbols. Hopefully I can find it by typing it. So I guess this is the one you're talking about, the Ethereum, like, or maybe this. I'm not sure. But I'm not sure the symbol you're looking at. If you have the symbol, you can let me know. But um, graphite. Uh, Again, like depends on, are we talking about as a commodities or are you talking about a stock company that has graphite, right? So I don't have any of those. If you have symbols, you can show me. Last one, Facebook, sure. Facebook changed their name, right? It's called Meta now or something, right? Meta platform, whatever. It had some bearish push down. I think there was during this time where I don't know if you guys were around there. There was like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp shut down for like half a day or so. That was kind of crashing the market a little bit. Um, Originally, I thought this could be that ascending structure and then pushes down, but it didn't really reach all the way down to the bottom. And if we look closely into what's going on here, there's possibly of a reversal, but it's not confirmed yet, right? I don't really have too much data here. There's a lot of gapping, and this is also why I really don't day trade stocks because of gaps. But this is to me, I'm more a little bit more neutral on this. I can see that this could be a ascending channel, and this potentially can continue to go down, or you can see this as a possible reversal point because it's not falling behind anymore. So I'm fairly neutral in this area. I'm not really looking to buy or short at this given moment. Okay. Any other question, guys? AMD is that stock or crypto or something? Like AMD as a crypto or AMD as a stock company? Okay. So first one, right? Oh, I must have talked about this a while back, right? Maybe in February or something. So, that's all I can say is it's been pretty bullish, right? This is why I had the structure draw like this at the time. I remember this now. I think someone asked me about this pair, and I thought about that. There could be a head and shoulder, but if the head and shoulder does not push down, then this could easily be a continuation for this up move. And we push up again, we have another consolidation. I think this was probably a better entry now that we break the high like here. I obviously see that more bullish now, right? There's no question about it. And I don't think jumping here is a good idea. You probably want to wait for something like this. Something like this to wait for another buy, right? I think that makes sense to buy like that. So, see Q. Not really much here, my friend. I don't really see anything bullish. I think this is more of a bearish push down correction and push down again. This might be another continuation to go lower. So not really seeing any bullish bias here on this one. Okay, last one is Uber. I'm just gonna quickly go over this one and I'll wrap it up here. I don't really see much here on Uber, by the way. I think this could be some sort of inverse head and shoulder if it does develop, but it's not really enough for me to buy, depending on how you see this. You might even see this as a bullish continuation to go higher from this push up, but it's a little bit indecisive. Again, it's just choosing which one looks better, right? I was looking at Nike because Nike is another stock that I hold. I have Nike stocks all the way here, so I've been holding through this. So it's pretty decent. And again, it's the difference here is just there at least if you see how Nike has been moving up, it's clear impulse, clear correction, clear impulse, clear correction, clear impulse, clear correction, clear impulse. You can see that is just how the market naturally moves, right? Whereas the other one that we just looked at, it didn't really have this kind of formation, right? You want to be risking your money when it gives you a very clear outlook, clear development, and clear trending, right? Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up here, guys. So it's been an hour and a half already. Again, I am going to do another one on Wednesday, right? I'm going to do another stream on Wednesday. It's going to be a little bit different time. This last couple of Wednesday, I had something to do in the morning, so I can't make the New York session. But I do and will do a one during the Asian session. But again, these are all watchable when you rewatch again, right? So you can rewatch the stream again if you like. And if this is the first time you're watching, again, make sure you go through any of my playlists to learn about anything about price action analysis. These are hours and hours long workshop for free for you to learn. All the correction structures I talk about is on here. You're welcome to learn about those. On my trading view stream, this is where you can watch all the stream. You can rewatch them on YouTube as well, or you can follow me here for all the analysis that I have. And Telegram channel is where you can get all my content, all the updates, and all the notification. This is where I would post all my educational content, analysis, live updates, things like that. This is where you will get all the notification. And that's about it, everyone. So I will see you guys all Wednesday at Asia session, 23 o'clock GMT. And if I miss you, well, I will do one on New York session next Monday. So for those of you who can attend them on New York session, I'll see you next Monday. And take care, everyone. So hope everyone is be safe out there and see you all next time. All right. Thank you very much.